Guys, can everybody move forward and fill up the empty seats? Yeah, even up there. All right, I think we're good. Is this on? We good? Yeah. Good evening. I'm George Cheris, President and CEO of the National Center for Simulation. On behalf of our organization, welcome to this Hall of Fame ceremony. I'd like to start it with a Pledge of Allegiance, so if everybody can please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and be seated. It's such a pleasure and rewarding experience to host this outstanding tribute to this class of Hall of Fame inductees. Here at the beautiful Orange County Convention Center, we have a live audience with family, friends, and colleagues of the inductees. And once again, thanks to the generosity of Orange TV, we are broadcasting live so their relatives and friends from across the country who cannot be there can watch this and celebrate with all of us. So before we start the festivities, I'm going to recognize some very special guests and hold your applause till the end. There's a lot of them. We have a couple of Hall of Fame previous inductees here from the class of 2018, Dr. Jim Blake. And go ahead, clap for him. And from the class of 2019, Michael Shands. We also have some Team Orlando leadership here tonight. The commander of NOC TSD, for those of you that aren't familiar with that abbreviation, that's the Navy. Captain Jaron Rook James. And we also have a number of past Team Orlando commanders. And if I don't mention you, it's because you didn't RSVP. These are all retired captains from the Navy. Tim Hill, Steve Nakagawa, Dan Cavelli, and Captain Harry Robinson. Did I miss anybody? All right, did good. You guys did good. From PEO STRI, the Army, again, Dr. Blake is here, so you can recognize him again. And from AFAMS, the Air Force, Colonel Robert Epstein. And from the Marines, PM Traces, Colonel Walt Yates. And we have several NCS board members here tonight, and this time I will ask you to hold your applause till I get through them all. Our vice chair is Janet Spruill from Aptima. Our treasurer is Amy Motko from Carly. We have Dr. Grace Bohanec from UCF. Tim Hill, again, from Intuitive Technologies. Brian Holmes from Innovation Business Consulting. I have Lee Lacey on my list because he RSVP'd. I don't think he's here. Janet Owen from UCF. Marty Spence from Clifton Larson and Allen. And Mary Trier from Capital Communications. Let's give them all a round of applause. We also recently had an election for next year's board members, and one of those new selected board members is Dolly Glass from Mass Virtual. So, Dolly, congratulations. She'll be joining us in January. Finally, I would like to recognize Vice Admiral Sean Buck from NTSA. He's in town planning for ITSEC, which will be right here in 6 or 7 weeks. Sean, I'm really so glad you could make it. Welcome, Sean. As we celebrate the induction of our 11th class, and it's hard to believe this has been going on for 11 years, let's step back and understand the purpose of the Modeling and Simulation Hall of Fame. This Hall of Fame was established to recognize pioneers in our field whose passion, dedication, and perseverance laid the foundation for today's multi-billion-dollar simulation industry. The technology and applications, which in many ways were inspired, developed, or spearheaded by these 39 individuals and now these 3 inductees, have provided excellent tools and training and support to allow our warfighters to encounter almost any type of situation imaginable, not to mention the countless lives that have been saved. Now, after a storied history, our region is simply known as the epicenter of modeling and simulation, not only for the warfighter, but across many industries, as evidenced by tonight's inductees. Dr. Dan's leadership was the impetus for the infrastructure for industry, academia, and government to thrive. Daryl built an entertainment powerhouse, and Carolina's technologies cuts across many industrial platforms. With so many remarkable accomplishments, we all must learn from their example and continue to provide the platform for our military and industry partners to protect our nation at the highest level and develop dual-use applications to affect our industrial and consumer markets. Our inductees of the future are currently making significant advancements and contributions to transform how we live and operate. Here at NCS, a key part of our purpose is to help provide the framework and opportunities to thrive, whether it's infrastructure partnerships with UCF, advocating for our industry and for technology advancement, and developing our workforce of the future. One perspective that I would like to share about Hall of Fame members is many of them keep making valuable contributions, and both Jim and Michael are really good examples of that. And now, without further ado, it's time to induct 3 more pioneers into the Modeling and Simulation Hall of Fame. Dr. Carolina Cruz Nera, Dr. Daniel Holzenbeck, and Daryl Holt. Tonight's Master of Ceremonies is my partner in crime and our Chief Operating Officer, Dr. Neil Finkelstein, so give Neil a warm welcome.
Hello. All right, I'm already going off script. Sorry, I see my whole team ducking their heads. Don't do that. Just read what's on the paper. I was working on a talk I'm giving in a couple of weeks, and I was in ChatGPT, like many of us hang out in there, I'm sure. And I decided, hey, I'll take a break here, and I'm going to Google ChatGPT for what is the NCS Modeling Simulation Hall of Fame. And it came back with a really nice paragraph, but on the bottom sentence, it read, the Hall of Fame services to inspire, future professionals and promote excellence in the modeling and simulation discipline. And that caught me, that first line, inspire future professionals. And so I was thinking, they haven't done enough work. They're on the Wall of Fame, and now we're asking them to continue to inspire people. So I thought that was a really interesting line, and I know as tired as some of those people have been making it through, getting onto the Hall of Fame with incredible careers, their legacy is going to live on. And so I was thinking of some of the Hall of Fames and that we have in our country, like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, probably the biggest one. About 500,000 people go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland, Ohio. Then we have the Football Hall of Fame. We got the Baseball Hall of Fame, and we got the Basketball Hall of Fame. About 300,000 people go to that. And if you add up the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the Baseball, Football, and the Basketball Hall of Fame, it comes out to about 1.4 million people see that every year. Well, guess what? At the Orange County Convention Center right here, 1.4 million people walk through this and get to see what's on our wall here in the Wall of Fame. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I thank ChatGPT for that. And now let's go. Let's get on with the ceremony here. All right. So good evening, everyone. Welcome to the National Center for Simulation's Modeling Simulation Hall of Fame. It's an honor to see so many familiar faces and some new friends. And we gather here tonight to celebrate the outstanding achievements and innovations in our industry. I want to extend my deepest thanks to each and every one of you for being here. And a special welcome to those joining us from home. We are particularly grateful to Orange TV for making it possible to broadcast this. And with their professionalism they do every year, we thank them. This is going to be on YouTube. This is on Vimeo. This is on X, Facebook, and 4 or 5 other social media platforms that I particularly don't know, but I'm sure my daughters know very well. So it's out there. This will live on, and we thank Orange TV for that. So today we celebrate the visionaries whose groundbreaking contributions have shaped the future of the modeling simulation industry. Their dedication and innovation continue to inspire, pushing the boundaries of technology, training, human performance, and human achievement. We honor their legacy, recognizing that their work not only transformed our industry, but also left an indelible mark on the world. This is truly a special night, especially for our 3 inductees whose families, friends, and colleagues are here brimming with pride as we celebrate their remarkable journeys. Tonight, these individuals will take their rightful place among the legends on our industry Wall of Fame. But like any good broadcast, before we go on, we must continue. It's going to be important to thank and acknowledge those that made this evening possible, and that is our sponsors. Each of these organizations played a critical role, not just tonight, but in advancing the modeling and simulation community year-round. Your contributions are essential to the work we do here, and it's because of generous supporters like you that we can continue to celebrate and elevate the leaders of our industry. So on behalf of everyone, we want to thank Capital Communications, Mary, we probably should hold applause. This is a really long list. So Mary, thank you. Karen, Kate, Shane, the entire team at Capital Communications, thank you. The Central Florida Tech Grove, I know Carol Ann and Chris are out, but Will is here. Where's Will? Thank you, Will, for hanging with us tonight for the Central Florida Tech Grove. Eric at City of Orlando, thank you. Clifton, Larson, Allen. Where is Marnie? Marnie, there is Marnie. Marnie, thank you so much for your contribution to this. And, of course, all the years that you have been a National Center for Simulation board member. We thank you so much. Not only a great board member, but a great colleague to George and I and a great friend. So thank you so much. DLH, thank you. EA Sports, of course. EA Sports is here. Edwards Financial Services. I don't know, is Michelle here? I don't know. Okay. Engineering Computer Simulations. Mick, Christy, and Wayman, thank you. Florida Commerce, thank you. The Florida High Tech Corridor, I think Snack is here somewhere. Thank you, Snack. The Florida Virtual School Foundation, I don't know if Beth is here. Beth Bruner, thank you. Intuitive, Okta is here somewhere, representing Orlando and also Alabama. Thank you, Intuitive. Lockheed Martin Corporation, too many people to thank. We're not going to thank all those people. M3 Technologies, Matt and Jason, thank you. Mass Virtual, Dolly's here, and David possibly somewhere around. No, maybe not on travel. Dolly's good enough. Maynard Nexon, Orange County Convention Center, thank you. Dean is in the back. He's been with us every year that we have done this. Look at this beautiful setup this year. Thank you so much, Dean. We appreciate that. Your job's not done. Your job's not done. We have the NTSA ITSIC coming up in a month, and 18,000 people. We thank Debbie for being here. Debbie's somewhere. And Admiral Buck is here as well. There you go. Good, good, good. Orange County Government, thank you. Orange TV, once again, Mike, Chris, the whole team, thank you. Orlando Economic Partnership, Seminole County Government, Andrew Ngee, Osceola County Government, Don Fisher, Orange Technical College, Parker, and last but not least, the University of Central Florida, of which you will hear from in less than 2 minutes. Let's take a moment to show our appreciation with a big round of applause for all our outstanding sponsors. Henry Ford, he's not here. Henry Ford once said, "Coming together is a beginning, keeping together is progress, and working together is success." As we celebrate, like George said, our 11th year with the Modeling and Simulation Hall of Fame, this sentiment resonates very deeply. We achieved so much together, and there's still so much more to accomplish as we honor the pioneers who have shaped and continue to inspire our industry. And now let's turn our attention to the highlight of the evening, our remarkable inductees. We are privileged to add 3 new individuals to the Wall of Fame. Their contributions to the modeling and simulation and training community have been extraordinary, with a reach that extends far beyond our region, touching lives across the nation and even around the world. And you are about to hear their stories. So without further ado, it's time to recognize the trailblazers who have shaped our industry with their passion, ingenuity, and tireless dedication. We are about to hear from someone whose contributions have set a new standard in our field. So to introduce our first inductee of the evening, please welcome Dr. Grace Bohanec, UCF Director of the School of Modeling, Simulation, and Training, and NCS board member, who will be inducting Dr. Carolina Cruz Nera.
Awesome. What a wonderful, wonderful evening. And I'm going to take 1 second now. Okay, well, we won't go that route. It is a nice evening, isn't it? And I'm so proud to be here, and so proud to be a part of this community and the things that this community accomplishes each and every day. So again, it's just an immense honor to be here for the 2024 Modeling and Simulation Hall of Fame, celebrating the remarkable achievements of these trailblazers in our field. Especially, one of those trailblazers is a colleague and is becoming a very close friend. Interesting stories, and he deviated, so I get to deviate a little off script too. You know, you never know how your paths cross over time of your life. But Dr. Carolina Cruz and I met. We were a lot younger then. We're still spiky and spunky and energetic, but we met many years ago when we were first starting our careers. Her in Iowa, me in the state of Michigan, and it's very interesting how we have been passionate about modeling and simulation and what it could do and how it could revolutionize the world. And so it's been a pleasure to come back into this community and be reconnected. So Carolina is here today, and joining us is her husband, Dr. Dirk Reiners. Thank you for being here, Dirk. Her son, Alexander, and her father, Emilio Cruz. I know you are all so proud because we are, right? So Carolina has not only redefined the boundaries of technology, but her groundbreaking contributions in virtual reality, interactive visualization, high-performance computing, and digital twins have really transformed industries. You know, as a visionary creator of the CAVE virtual reality system, and by the way, that's how we met, she developed an immersive environment that has become a standard in engineering firms worldwide, enhancing product development in ways previously no one thought possible. Her innovations have led to improving training, really have accelerated product design, and I can attest to that, and increased safety. All the hallmarks of Carolina's transformative impacts to each of us and to our world. Today we celebrate not just her exceptional achievements, but also her enduring legacy. As a leader in science and technology, her work continues to inspire countless individuals and organizations, especially me and those of us who work with her daily. Carolina, allow me to congratulate you for your induction into the Modeling and Simulation Hall of Fame. If you could please come up. Okay. I'm going to read the citation first, right? So let me read the citation. Okay. I'd like you to be here with me. In recognition of Carolina Cruz Nera for her pioneering accomplishments in modeling and simulation, with pivotal contributions in the fields of virtual reality, interactive visualizations, high-performance computing, and digital twins. As a leader in her field, Dr. Cruz Nera has earned global acclaim in the modeling and simulation training community for creating the CAVE immersive system, and her efforts have become standard tools recognized by professionals in government, industry, and academia. Her work has been instrumental in facilitating data analysis, decision-making, design reviews, training, and education. Dr. Cruz Nera received praise from major companies for increasing product safety and improving design and production processes that have saved time and millions of dollars. Her innovations have influenced training and research for NASA, the University of Central Florida, the U.S. military, the U.S. National Laboratories. Dr. Cruz Nera's leadership in addressing large problems by forming interdisciplinary teams has become a key to innovation and considered standard practices in helping the United States of America's competitiveness in our global economy. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations. So I'm going to let you speak.
All right. Well, thank you. Very special, of course, to Grace for such a humbling introduction. I feel sometimes that they talk about somebody else because I just wake up in the morning and go to work like everybody else. But I'm very appreciative, of course, from NCS and everybody that has welcomed me so tremendously well here since I joined Orlando 4 years ago. So let me tell you, my first interaction with Orlando was when I was little, when my parents brought me here to see Disney when it opened in the 70s. But my real interaction with Orlando was 1991. I arrived to the United States. I did not speak English. But I came here and I attended an event at this convention center, and it might have been the early ITSEC. And I was blown away. I don't know how, I don't know what I have to do, but I have to join that community in some manner. So to me, being here today, and especially being part of all these people that I have studied their careers and have been many inspirations, I'm one of those nerds that every year when I come to the convention center and see what the new pictures are and how these people are and trying to understand more their work, you know, it's an indescribable feeling to me to be here today. And it's very humbling because we all know that what we do, you know, this honor is not mine. I don't own this recognition. This is a recognition of all the people that have been around my entire career. I had incredible mentors when I first came to this country that battled my language limitations, but they support me and help me, and many of them taught me English. I had incredible friends like Grace. She was the first funding officer that believed in my ideas. That was actually my first grant that she issued to me when I was a very young researcher. All those incredible, incredible students that have been with me throughout my entire career, and all my collaborators. So when these awards happen, you know, it's not the person that is the front. It's really all that large community of people that makes us to do things very, very exciting. It's also important to recognize sometimes the families, because my poor husband and my poor son and my poor father don't get to see me very often. Here in Orlando, yes, I don't travel as much, but in my previous positions, you know, there would be weeks and weeks and weeks that they wouldn't see me because I will spend the night in the office. That's a pretty normal thing for all of us to do, things like that. So it's really, really a tremendous honor, again, not to me, but all of the people that have been around to have this recognition. I'm incredibly grateful to the National Center for Simulation to allow me to integrate so quickly in Orlando. Thanks to the interactions with George and Neil, I was able to connect with a lot of people, and all of you are here in the audience, you know. And, you know, here I am almost 35 years later, and I am part of this community, and I'm incredibly privileged to be part of all of you, and I'm just looking forward to see what else we're going to do together. You know, the sky is the limits, you know, basically. So thank you very much to everybody.
We take a couple pictures right here.
Don't ask me why they call it the chicken. You want us to go down?
Yeah, we're going to go down right in front.
Okay. I get to say, go Knights!
It's your show, Carolyn. So cool. All right. Thank you, Carolina. Thank you so much. Congratulations, family and friends. That was great. All right. Next, I invite Miss Janet Owen, Vice President in Government and Community Relations and Associate General Counsel. I screwed that up, but that's okay. And National Center for Simulation Board Member to the stage. Janet will be saying a few words before the induction of the late Dr. Dan Holzenbeck. Janet.
There is truly nothing more special than getting to participate in and honoring someone who has been a personal and professional hero. And Dr. Dan Holzenbeck has been my hero for well over 20 years while he was on this earth, and his gentle yet powerful influence continues. Later this week, we will celebrate another major Dr. Dan legacy, 20 years of the UCF Legislative Scholars Program, the largest, most successful, and sought-after program for student interns in the Florida state legislative process. I was so blessed to be his colleague in government relations world, and he taught us all so much through his famous stories, his direct advice, and by watching him work. Dr. Dan taught us that as university lobbyists, we were to work hard, be consummate professionals, and never take credit for the successes, giving all the credit to the elected officials who fund your idea and make it a reality. Dr. Dan would not be front and center at a ribbon cutting. He would be standing at the back of the room, making sure everyone was properly greeted and acknowledged. But tonight, the spotlight is on Dr. Dan, and there is no better person to help shine that light on him than my esteemed colleague who worked with Dr. Dan for more than 15 years, Mr. Fred Kittinger, UCF's Senior Associate Vice President of Government and Community Relations.
Thank you so much, Janet, and it is indeed an honor to team up with you tonight as we set the stage for Dr. Daniel Holzenbeck's induction into the NCS Hall of Fame. I had the pleasure of working for Dr. Dan from 2003 to 2018, but first came to know him in 1985 when he started at UCF as our Associate Vice President for Government Relations. So tonight, I'm very lucky because I get to share the stage with my current wonderful boss to share a few thoughts about my previous wonderful boss. That's sort of like hitting the Powerball and Mega Millions both on the same night, but without the tax implications. For any of you that are over the age of 35, you probably remember the old BASF commercials. It went something like this. At BASF, we don't make the cooler, we make it cooler. We don't make the jeans, we make them bluer. At BASF, we don't make the dress, we make it brighter. We don't make the plane, we make it lighter. At BASF, we don't make a lot of the products you buy, we make a lot of the products you buy better. Well, in that same vein, Daniel Holzenbeck was our version of BASF. Dr. Holzenbeck did not create the U.S. Institute for Simulation Training, nor did he design the curriculum for the School of Modeling Simulation Training, but he forged relationships with state legislators and sold the vision that provided the funding that jump-started and entrenched those foundational programs that allowed them to become the national models that they are today. Dr. Holzenbeck may not have designed or constructed the 5 partnership buildings that populate the Central Florida Research Park, but he was the architect and the conductor that designed the legislative strategies that provided the funding for those partnership buildings and the necessary force protection that allows the synergies for our DoD and Team Orlando partners and university researchers to work side by side in support of the nation's warfighters. And while Dr. Dan likely never played EA Sports award-winning franchise Madden NFL, he led the collaborative effort with Daryl Holt's team at EA to secure the recurring and non-recurring funding that in turn created UCF's #1 nationally ranked graduate game design school, FIA. Early on, Dan knew that modeling simulation training would not only be critical to supporting the warfighters' efforts to defend our shores, but would also have unlimited application in the civilian world from entertainment to healthcare. Dr. Holzenbeck didn't make all the elements that created the nation's leading economic cluster in modeling and simulation. He made them all better. Now, as I bring up Dan's wife, Dr. Joyce Clampett, and his daughter, Amy Clampett Holzenbeck, I want to read the writing that's going to be on his plaque here. In recognition of Daniel Holzenbeck, Ph.D., for his decades of military service and leadership in Central Florida's modeling, simulation, and training community, Dr. Holzenbeck served in the Navy on active duty and in reserve status for over 30 years as a retired captain. He played a significant role at the University of Central Florida for over 34 years, where he served 5 university presidents and helped secure facility-related projects that proved critical in protecting Orlando's MS&T community. Dr. Holzenbeck was a key leader who assembled diverse groups that throughout the region supported the community initiatives that secured state funding to construct perimeter security upgrades and create the campus we now know as the Partnership Complex. His guidance at a crucial time in MS&T community's development was invaluable to establishing the collaborative spirit that is the defining trait of Team Orlando's ecosystem and has contributed to making Central Florida's worlds the MS&T epicenter. Dr. Clampett, Amy, please come forward. They each are going to share a few remarks.
much to the center staff and to the organizers of this event, and for the generous inclusion of Amy and me in tonight's special event. Dan would be humbled and so very grateful to be recognized in this way by a group for whom he had the utmost respect. And he would feel honored to be sharing it with the inductees of the caliber of Dr. Krusnera and Mr. Holt. Dan loved being an advocate for the center, and he often enthusiastically shared news about its milestones, its growth, its successes with me over our dinner table, while raising his cardiologist-prescribed glass of red wine. Dan also valued the professional relationships that developed from working with the center administration and staff over the years on joint efforts. He appreciated the decades-long courtesies that were extended to him by that staff and the never-failing support for his work on behalf of the center. To the Center for honoring Dan in this way this evening, we offer our heartfelt gratitude and our appreciation. And to the other honorees, please accept our family's sincerest congratulations to you both on your induction into the Hall of Fame.
Hello, I'm Amy. I'm Dan's daughter. I did not write a speech, but I had something in mind, and I'm going to free flow like my dad usually did, which I'm sure most of you know. He had 3 tenets. He had many tenets that he lived by. He loved his time in the service. He loved creating partnerships, and he championed innovation. I think getting this honor is a recognition of all of those things. As much as I wish he was here, had he been here, he would probably try and pass it off on someone else. So I thank you all so much for honoring him at this time, and I love that he's going to be memorialized, and appreciate all of your support of him as well. Thank you.
I love when we do audibles. We're so flexible. So flexible. Okay. Finally, let's welcome Michael Shands, Director of Engineering, Technology, and Analysis at Walt Disney World and NCS board member, to induct the last honoree of the evening, Mr. Daryl Holt.
Well, what an honor it is to be here. So I'm going to go right on to the pages where I'm supposed to be here. So hang on one second so I can find that. There we go. I think we are unbelievably blessed. I'm sorry. I was just sitting there and I was thinking about, not only do we get a chance to do everything we do here, but we get a chance to do it in a way that inspires other people. And like I said, I know this wasn't written here, but it is such an honor to be able to be up in front of here. I knew Dan. I talked to him often. He always sat next to me, and it was so cool. Daryl, I've just gotten a chance to know you, and Carolina. I mean, it's just such an honor to be up here. So I just had to say that. I feel that we're blessed and we're honored to be able to do the work we do and do it in a way that can really advance everything that's going on in science and humanity and many of the other tasks we do. So Daryl Holt is the Senior Vice President of EA Sports and Group General Manager for the Tiburon Studios in Orlando, Austin, Madrid, and Victoria. He oversees major franchises such as Madden NFL, which, by the way, I was one of the very first purchases of Madden NFL for the Sega game system. Just want to throw that out there, Daryl. EA Sports PGA Tour and EA Sports College Football. Holt leads the American football business globally and plays a significant role in EA's community, DEI, education, and legislative initiatives. Holt began his career at EA Tiburon in 2004 in art production management. He has since led the development of numerous renowned titles and contributed to EA's game development network. His leadership roles include COO of EA Tiburon in 2008, VP of Operations of EA Sports in 2010, and VP GM for EA Sports Worldwide Studios in 2018, before becoming SVP Group GM in 2022. With over 34 years of management experience, Holt has also served as President, CEO of Ovation Media Group, Inc., and held positions at Jibe, Inc., Media Centric Group, Moon Communications, All Children's Hospital, and Accenture. He holds degrees in accounting and management information systems from Stetson University and studied computer animation at the International Academy of Design. Currently, Holt sits on the executive boards of the Orlando Economic Partnership and the Florida High-Tech Corridor Council, and chairs the board of Innovate Orlando. His accolades include being named one of Florida's 500 most influential business leaders from 2018 to 2024 and being inducted into the Simulation Hall of Fame in 2024 today. Mr. Holt, will you please come forward? So as you can read on the plaque, in recognition of Daryl Holt for his contributions to entertainment and gaming in the modeling, simulation, and training MS&T industry, which has helped establish Central Florida as a technology hub with unlimited potential. For over 20 years, Mr. Holt has led the development of award-winning sports simulations for Electronic Arts and has become a widely respected leader in Central Florida's technology industry. As an EA Senior Vice President, he led the creation of a popular collection of games that have influenced pop culture and gaming culture, such as the Madden NFL franchise, as well as intellectual property and the development of high-definition, mobile, and emerging platforms. Mr. Holt has been recognized for his leadership and contributions to MS&T, entertainment, and his service to Orlando Economics Partnership, Executive Board of Directors, the Florida High-Tech Corridor Council, and the Innovate Orlando Board. Mr. Holt's leadership philosophy of move forward together, which, by the way, I absolutely love that. Thank you for putting that in there, has set him apart as a local and industry leader, which has enabled EA to cement its legacy in interactive entertainment and inspire the world over to play. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you, Michael. Thanks for that kind introduction and for shepherding me through this process. Thank to the National Center for Simulation for this honor, my fellow inductees for the amazing work that they do, and for my family and friends and colleagues who are here this evening taking a moment out of their busy lives. Really appreciate you being here. My wife, Sarah, my daughter, Jaden, unfortunately away from home, but I've got the other women in my life, my mother, Joanne, my sisters, Angela and Kim, here tonight, so I really appreciate you being here. This is great. Now, when Michael told me I'd have a chance to say a few words, briefly he emphasized more than once. I think he knows I can get going. I wondered what could I possibly add? What could I say? And I thought about, well, how did I end up at this spot tonight? Serendipitously, what happened that put me in this position and why it matters, to me so much? And I think I had to look back to it all happened in 1981, 82, and 83. And for those of you, if you didn't grow up in the 80s, you're lost. It was awesome. It truly was. But before I go there in that particular time, let me just diverge just briefly and talk about one thing about my upbringing. I had great parents. My father, who passed away a couple of years ago, was a hero of mine in so many ways, but certainly one of those is he was a dreamer. And he instilled that and cultivated that in me, and I greatly appreciated that about him. My mother, who was also a hero of mine, probably haven't told her that other than tonight, she was the practical one.
So she basically knew you get nothing without hard work. And she had a wonderful sense of humor. I loved to make her laugh. But it was that combination of those two things that I think was a big contributing factor in my upbringing. And it's one of the things when I look back on it that, you know, we might have been poor or on the poor side of wealth growing up, but I was enriched with encouragement to go make a mark, to go do something with what I had, which is really just an artistic eye, a mathematician's brain, and a dreamer's heart. Which brings me back to 1981, 82, and 83, and those three things that I think happened during that time. The first is back to my father. In 1981, he was in his second career in retail career management after his time in the ministry, and he had every Wednesday off. And usually we would go to the movies during the summer. That was one of the things that we did together. And in 1981, he normally let me pick the movies. He's a good dad. But in 1981, June, he wanted to pick the movie. And he's like, I want to go see this movie about the Ark of the Covenant. I'm like, Dad, I've been to church Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday nights. I really don't want to spend a day in my summer going to see a movie about the Ark of the Covenant. But he said, hey, it's got Han Solo in it from Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back. I think you'll like it. And you haven't figured out that movie is Raiders of the Lost Ark, and then I can't help you. But it was an amazing movie. And I think what was great about it wasn't that it was just amazing. We'd seen a lot of amazing movies. But at that point in time, because that was a movie that I hadn't picked, we talked a lot about it. And it became one of those things that we continued from that time of understanding stories and those inspirations and how they can move people forward and what they can do. And then we went deeper than that, 82 and 83, talking about those films of how it juxtaposed against my own dreams and the life that I wanted to have and things I wanted to do. And so it was a really interesting time for us to go deep and think about the impact of a good story and how that could be used with juxtaposed against big dreams to what I consider my first time understanding what it takes to inspire people. And so that was a big turning point for me. And in 1983, there was a movie called War Games with a computer named Joshua that posited the question, shall we play a game? I didn't quite understand how big an impact that would have on me at the time. But the second thing happening in 1982 was I started programming. In BASIC on a Radio Shack TRS-80, or Trash 80 as we affectionately refer to it. And I wrote my first game. I wrote my first, what I would call application nowadays, but program for my school, because they had no idea what was happening with computers at the time. Other than my instructor, I was literally writing things for the school on how they could make the school work better. So that was another aspect of it. And I learned that technology was one of those things that I could use as a tool to take my imagination forward, think about different things that we could do with it, help people, reach them, make them feel. And in 1983, probably because of my mother, I got my first computer, a Texas Instrument 99-4A, complete with free speech synthesizer because they were giving these things away. I don't think they really knew how they were going to sell them, but it worked great for me because now I had the tools right there in my own room to think about how I wrote more games and more things for people. It was all about how they felt. And the third thing in 1982, someone had the exact same idea. Trip Hawkins founded a company called Electronic Arts. And that's where I've spent my last 20 years of my career. I never thought I'd have a career in video games, even though I've been playing them religiously since 1976 on an Atari 2600. But I never thought about a career in games. But it was the perfect place for me. The very first ad that Electronic Arts wrote back in 1982, when it was calling for more game makers, was this ad that said, can a computer make you cry? And for all of us that have worked with computers, we know that's a fact, because once it crashes, you will cry or break something or throw something. But it was beyond that. It was about how you could use personal computing to reach people and make them feel. Something that only probably poets and musicians and writers and filmmakers did. But we were going to try and do it with games. And I think that's one of the key turning points, that ad that became a roadmap for me. It's about making people feel. And so that aspect kind of created the perfect place for me to work. And it's been my passion for the last 20 years and probably the last 42, 43 since I was that 13-year-old boy trying to learn not to write an endless loop. It's about people. And that is important. And when I think about why it's important, I'll use tonight as an example. I'm here with this incredible honor surrounded by all of you, my family's friends and colleagues, and it has lasting impact. And that lasting impact is what moves us forward. When I think about the inspirations from a movie or a story or the tools and the technology or how we make people feel, it's that lasting impact that reaches your soul. And that's the important thing, because that's real. And it's so real, I couldn't simulate that if I tried. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, well, let's have a round of applause for all three of our inductees. All right, this is the sixth one of these I've hosted, and at the end, I always try to come up with a few observations, and amazingly enough, the observations are always basically the same. So all of these people that are up here, at least the last 6 years worth, have kind of the same basic traits. One is they all work like crazy. Two is they all come with strong family support. And three, they have all developed outstanding relationships throughout their careers. And so, you know, as I speak to the young people, you know, really focus on those relationships as you grow your career. And, you know, I know it's hard if you're, you know, you're working at home or in your, you know, in your bedroom. So get out, meet people, do things. Daryl, great story. You know, you and I have crossed paths a couple times, but I really respect everything you've done. You get to, you know, you get to work in the world of sports. It's got to be one of the most fun jobs in the world. Carolina, I've been in your cave. I've seen what you do. You do amazing things. We're together at ITSEC. I do want to spend a minute or two talking about Dan, because I worked really closely with Dan when he was here. And he was like he was a guy that would put his arm around me and really give me that sage advice, but he also had some really interesting sayings. And I'll look back on one. As most of you know, I worked closely with Dan when we acquired the Partnership 4 and Partnership 5 buildings. In fact, Joyce and I were talking about the phone calls during their dinner and everything else. But there was a particular meeting we had when we were negotiating with a potential seller, which ended up not being the seller. And we were in the meeting room, and I had spent the first part of my career in New York, and there was a phrase up there in terms of investment. It's bulls make money, bears lose money, pigs get slaughtered. Dan had the Alabama version. Pigs get fed, hogs get slaughtered. So we were going through this meeting, and these guys we were way apart on what the value of this property was. And I just looked at Dan, and I said, hog, and as only Dan can do, he just said that slow nod. And we just looked at each other. Okay, meeting's over, deal's dead. And that pretty much sums up. But Dan was, you know, I can't express how important he was to everything we have. And I know Fred summed it up great and Janet summed it up great. But, you know, he was the guy that did all the stuff behind the scenes. And from, you know, he'd go see one state representative and give him one presentation. He knew how to he knew everybody's hot buttons, and he knew how to personalize every presentation. So I learned a lot from him. So anyway, with that, I need to thank a couple of more people. Our team at NCS, obviously Neil, Lindsay Spalding, Lana Wallace, Chris Volsky, and Abby Easter. They did a great job. And then I'd like to thank Chris's son, Lucas Volsky, for handling the plaques. So thanks to all of you. I'd also like to thank Karen Mergus from Capital Communications. She did a great job orchestrating this event from us. So thank you, Karen, and thank you, Mary. And for all of you watching from home, thanks for joining us. And once again, I'd like to express my gratitude to Orange TV for helping us make this an outstanding broadcast. And good night, and we'll see you all next year. And for everybody that's here, the Southside restaurant's still open, and there's still plenty of food and plenty of drinks, so we'll see you down there.